No, it's January 29th, 2022, so it's Nor'easter 2022. And I'm watching the days roll because there's a lot that goes into just a small segment of what I tape, let alone a whole day of semi-continuous, then a break, and then whatever. But on this station, for me in New York, which is Channel 4, on the jackets, it has a T, a letter T, that looks very Gobekli Tepe, which is an archaeological dig associated with somewhere in Turkey, where there's animals on these T crosses, and like almost like a, for lack of a better word, amphitheater stadium style seating, where it's like stepped down, or it looks that way from what I've seen of where the humans are now in digging up archaeologically. I don't know how that with the number 47 would be on a nor'easter weather state of emergency with what's reporting in this level of a fight between an animal, a human, a monster, and an alien, for which I'm being hurt by radiological light, and I can see it right above my head. I can see almost like a static, like I'm inside a poltergeist, or I'm inside of the TV when it used to be black and white and all fuzzy static. The molecules, I can see them above my head, almost like in the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. At some point in one of the rooms, they have this effect in the movie. So I know the humans know. I just don't know why management is so ineffective to work with the humans to fix my very real situation. So now this is what's reporting. I don't know her name. I don't really follow her, but whatever.
Participating in what the mayor said to everybody out here is to stay off the roads. People are just walking around, but nobody on the roads this morning.
Well, that's a good thing, Miles. We don't want that. That's what we've been asking people to do all morning. Glad to see at least out there. Jersey's a different story. We
He,
appreciate
by the
that. And thank you for
way,
the trivia. I learn something new every day.
gave secret
Alrighty. See you
trivia
a little bit,
knowledge of
Miles.
Long
Thank
Island
you.
I had never heard
Well,
of,
as
and
Miles
makes
said,
no
it is
sense
beautiful, but it's
whatsoever
also
for the
pretty
local
treacherous.
area.
We're going to go to Andrew's Sip. He's out in Queens, where they have already warned folks out there they're not going to see any blacktop there for hours, maybe at least until tomorrow. Andrew, any...
Now, this gentleman, Andrew, who she's referring to, is doing Peacock number 4, and that red symbol right there next to the 47 looks, from couch potato point of view, because again, I don't have the jacket, wasn't part of the conversation, but it looks like one of those T columns or structures, and I've seen it on a television program called Ancient Aliens, that deals with UFO or UFOlogy, I don't know. Again, I have never met any of these people. I find them extremely interesting, but I've only found them on television or teleportation program. I have not met them in the field ever. And when I was a child, I didn't even know they existed or that line of work existed.
Any change in the conditions out there? I see it's still snowing.
No, the only change, Pat, is that it hasn't been as windy of late. They did do a shift change in terms of the sanitation workers. The whole batch of them went on at 7 a.m., and so they've had about 3 hours now to start tackling the snow. Of course, there's always a difference between hearing you're going to get a lot of snow and then actually getting it. And while so far here in Queens they haven't gotten 12 inches, we can go over here and take a look. This is a very informal, non-Brian Thompson ruler over here, the top of this UPS box. This is where I cleared off earlier. So it looks like another 2 inches maybe here. If you take a look over there, maybe we're talking about 8 inches. The last official measurement we had at LaGuardia Airport was at 7 a.m., and that was just under 6 inches. So we anticipate we're somewhere in the 8 inches and above range for much of Queens when we get an official update. And speaking of an official update, Mayor Eric Adams' first major snow of his administration, he's been going borough to borough, essentially acting as informer-in-chief, tweeting out updates with his own phone. And in fact, a little while ago, he arrived at City Hall, had a message. You'll also hear from the Sanitation Commissioner.
No, he's reporting out of a place called Jackson Heights, Queens. Again, I am not familiar with all of Queens because it's just, I stay in Bayside Station because I've traveled by car, and the moving in of some United Nations of I have no idea, with multiple flags and squares of I don't even know what cartographer puzzle piece they all belong to. Again, crime scene when I arrived. I don't know who's involved, but there's a lot of pieces.
Commissioner.
Sanitation depots, guys are out there doing their jobs, making sure that we can move through the streets with public transportation. They start here at City Hall.
Same man that got a job right after, he's saying this is City Hall, after they took out a statue of Thomas Jefferson without asking me. I mean, we're family members and we're founding father family members at 13 colonies of importance on the northeast coast. I don't know why I wasn't addressed. I wasn't asked. They just removed. They didn't make any type of attempt for face-to-face conversation and ask if it was all right or permissible to take the statue out directly to me or Lynn. But I'll stick with myself for sure. I can say for sure they did not come to my face and ask me.
Just staying focused, get the job done.
Don't wear the good shoes, and if you can, give it a few more hours before you go out. When you're shoveling, be very, very careful, and most importantly, you will not see blacktop today. Not for a while, but then you will. So just have faith. We're coming. We'll be there. Thank you.
Back live now. The weather's sort of for the dogs out here. We see a number of pets. You've seen them through some of my colleagues' reports out in the snow today. I don't know whether they love it or they're just scampering through all of this snow. But just getting back for a moment to what the sanitation commissioner had to say, you know, it's not like they can send the plows out there and then boom, boom, down comes the snow totals and you're down to blacktop. It takes a while. He is preaching patience. But the one thing the commissioner said is,
I don't want to be rude, but it's just, it stops whatever, so.
No totals, and you're down to blacktop.
Then they go out to Riverhead, which is from the head of the fish all the way out
every street in
to
New York City. That's the latest reporting live in
the
Jackson Heights. Andrew said,
Twin
East
Tails.
New York.
No doubt about that,
Twin
Andrew. All right, thank you
Forks
so
is what
much.
they call
And
them.
Andrew mentioned that the wind seems to have died down a little bit where he is. Not the case out where Jessica Cunnington has been all night. She's on Long Island out in Riverdale, and again, Jess, you were freezing then. I beg your pardon, Riverhead.
Now if you see, this is the North Fork. They call it North Fork. That's where she is standing. In a very beautiful town in Riverhead. I've been out to, I like the quaintness. I like it feels like, honestly, Riverhead feels like a run, because I've been to Martha's Vineyard during the winter months where it was like, they called it off season. I took a ferry over there. I loved it. I was at home happy. What I hated was the person I went with. It was right after Benjamin was born. But that town was very up to date, like taken care of and cared for in historic national like pride and remembrance. Riverhead has that ability, as did Patchogue or does Patchogue in Suffolk County. It just, for villages anyway, it just hasn't, that I'm aware of, because it has that quaint feel, but large enough that it's an attraction, like Huntington also. But the surrounding, just like Huntington, surrounding schools and so on and so forth, the element and the demograph, it keeps the prices of the houses into an affordable range, but the schools seem to pay for it. I don't know why or how.
And you were freezing then. It doesn't look like your pictures changed very much since the last time we saw you.
Yeah, you're right, Pat. And yeah, as soon as I heard Andrew saying that in his report, I'm like, well, we're still seeing some powerful winds out here. Just a minute ago, those traffic lights were swinging. So now they're kind of like gently going back and forth. But as you can see, we're still dealing with low visibility. We're still dealing with the snow that is blowing. And you can see that our friend that I met hours ago when it was still dark out, he's out there with his mini plow again. Doing the sidewalks, and he just came through about 2 hours ago, and now it is all a whole new shade of snow again, several inches that are on just this crosswalk. So he's getting through that one right now. The streets too, I mean, you're seeing a tiny bit of the darkness of the road underneath. You see the wind blowing over it as well. So the plows that have been coming through pretty frequently, it almost seems like they're not doing the work, but they absolutely are. It's just that the snow is still coming down so much. We heard from County Executive Steve Bellone not too long ago here. I'm going to put up a photo that the Suffolk County Police Department had tweeted out, just giving a heads up to drivers. So we're looking at that photo right now. Obviously, that car on the side of the road, and police responding to that. The county executive saying that they've responded so far to 57 crashes. The majority of them were last night. So of course, now that it is worse and the snow is coming down, obviously even worse, that they are expecting some more and telling people to just stay off the roads. But for now, from Riverhead, I'm Jessica Cunnington. Back to you.
All right, Jessica, thank you. We appreciate it. Get inside that truck for a minute and stay warm. Joining us on the phone now, New York City Mayor Eric Adams. And good morning, Mayor. We know that this is really a baptism by ice, if you will. Your first month, a couple of weeks in office, and you're hit with a major snowstorm. How's it going? We've been watching you tweak your way around the city. What does it look like out there?
Thank you so much. And just for being informative, your station is giving information updates. And I think it's imperative just to join my team out there. Generals lead from the front, not from the rear.
Alphas in a wolf pack lead from the rear.
NYPD, transit employees, they are really coordinating to make sure that our streets are passable, that we keep the city moving even on a Saturday. Although there are system-wide delays in the MTA, you're still able to utilize the system. It's not shut down. And DSNY made it clear, every street is going to be touched. We know the snow is still flowing and still coming down, but we're doing a good job, and I'm really proud of them.
There have, in the previous weeks, been some staffing issues because of COVID. I'm curious where things stand right now, and what are the effects of that on this particular storm?
Well, during the first snowstorm that we received, we were dealing with about 20% of staffing issues. But guys and ladies came in. When I was at the garage in the morning with them, they stated that, look, this is our job. And although they were short manpower, they were out there and they were pushing it through. And now we're down to about only 8%. And the Commissioner Grayson, we can take up.
Statistics work both ways. You're either going to get your answers or you're going to give someone else's answers back to the people that need it.
We take our hats off to him. He used the manpower and women power that's available, and just to keep our city moving and operating.
Mayor, you talk about manpower and womanpower. You know, so much after these storms, we generally see the DSNY asking for the help of regular New Yorkers to come out and shovel those fire hydrants and the streets. Do you anticipate that you'll be able to get enough people out there after the storm, after the snow stops falling, to do the job that the DSNY needs some support with?
Yes. What I am really amazed at in this position as the mayor of the city is how much New Yorkers just want to help, particularly during the days of a storm, of a crisis. They just want to chip in, and they want to be a part of, what could they do. We're asked that all the time. Something as simple as shoveling your neighbors, particularly if they're a senior, or the fire hydrants. That is extremely important, and it's imperative that we give people the real usable data to tell them what they can do on their block or in a small way that turns out to something that's big for the entire city.
Mr. Mayor, Pat had mentioned that you were kind of tweeting your travels around the city. I'm curious where you are now and where you're going to be going, and maybe what are you looking for in particular?
Well, it's imperative that I'm able to give a real account to the public, not from the sterilized environment of one building or somewhere, but actually to show what's happening on the streets. And this way I can give real feedback to my commissioners and my team. We did a Zoom call this morning to talk about the coordination, because coordination is important. But I'm going to head out to Staten Island, a borough that was traditionally considered to be the forgotten borough. I'm saying to the Staten Islanders, I'm out there to see you this morning. I was in the Bronx. I was in Queens. I was in parts of Manhattan, in the Harlem area. And my next stop is Brooklyn and Staten Island because, although I'm the mayor, I'm still a property owner. I have to shovel that snow in front of my house.
Mayor, we've all been so thankful that this storm fell on a weekend. A good test for you and for the administration here, your first big snowstorm. But what do you think your biggest challenge has been, despite the fact that there are not as many people out and about as would normally be, said the storm happened, say, on a Tuesday morning?
People who are on the road, drivers on the road, doing recreational things. I understand if it's a necessity and you have to be on the road, but we're asking people not to be on the road, use public transportation, or, this is a good day to just stay at home and watch an old movie and reconnect with your family members. Because if you're on the road and you get stuck, you are actually going to be a clog in the wheel of keeping our city moving forward. Let the emergency vehicles, the buses, and other form of public transportation, let them occupy the roads as we keep the roads passable.
Yeah, people will get out on the road and then complain that they're not clean. All right, Mayor Eric Adams, we really appreciate you joining us as you make your way around the 5 boroughs. Don't take the Verrazano if you're going to Staten Island. It's closed. I'm sure you're well aware. You're probably taking the train. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
All righty.
We're going to turn now to the Jersey Shore. Brian Thompson standing by live for us. And Brian, I'm going to say you take a look at the challenges.
Does he have one of those jackets on?
And then let's take a look at the challenges
No,
of the
he doesn't.
dogs in that area.
What is this?
Yeah, well, this wind, this blowing snow is a challenge for any dog.
Different Thompson, different jacket, same station.
Let's take a look at Nestle, whom I met this morning. Seems like an appropriate name for the colored dog this is. Really friendly dog. And the owner was very friendly with us as well, I have to say. But, you
Nestle.
have to get the dog out, obviously. And, well, just listen to this interview I did with Nestle's owner.
He loves the snow.
But that's not the only reason you're out here.
No, he has other things he has to do while he's out here as well. But he was by the window looking and whining, and he wanted to go out. So,
I mean, come snow, rain, anything, the dog's
And
gotta
his
go out.
jacket says
He loves
Yukon
the outdoors.
with
Loves
2
the beach and he
N's.
loves the snow.
And Nestle is not the only dog that loves the snow. I can introduce you to Bella, who happens to be my dog. And Bella was at first a little confused, looking out the door and looking for maybe something to play with, but once she got used to it, out she bolted and played through the snow and presumably did her thing. which all dogs do have to do. And of course, then you have to worry about the snow bunching up in the dog's pads and try to dry them off from that. All of these challenges that dog owners are used to in the wintertime, unless you're a dog owner who's moved up from Florida or someplace warm like that. And let's go back, though, to the conditions we have right now here in Long Branch. Heavy blowing wind, the snow is pretty much unrelenting at this point. I'm going to take the ruler, the yardstick now, because that's really what we have to measure these drifts in. And it is now up to 21 inches right here in this drift at this particular point. The snow situation, however, the roads in Monmouth County, according to the sheriff, while they are passable,
This is the
it is
state
not
of
curb to
New
curb,
Jersey.
and they still recommend you stay off the roads. The good news is most people are following that advice, those who don't have essential work. And so there have been very few accidents reported here in Monmouth County, according to the sheriff when I talked to him a little bit ago. So those are the conditions we're facing right now. We're getting through it, but it is still a struggle.
And for myself, that's the...
Back to you two.
All right,
Mom, I'll be back. I need to go to the
dog
bathroom.
owners, though, those
All right,
dog
love you,
owners who
bug.
walk their dogs and then figure, it's in the snow, I'm not going to clean it up, I won't bother. Please clean it up, because the snow melts, but the poop doesn't. So, do indeed. I see too much of that after a bad snowfall. You with me, Brian?
I'm with you, and don't eat the yellow snow.
There you go.
Okay?
Yes.
Do not do that.
And warn the children. All right, Brian, thank you, appreciate it. Your dog's adorable, too.
We've got you covered from all angles.
Yes, we got to. We got to talk about it all. The snow is very much a people issue. I mean, when you're out, it affects everyone. You said this, it affects everyone, and everybody deals with it a little differently, and we all have similarities in how we handle things, and, we see the same things. Let's point it out. Clean up after your dogs, people. That is not right.
Well, someone who certainly always does that is Jen Maxfield, and she's live in Hackensack along Route 4 East. Jen, how are things by you?
Gus and Pat, I'm not really sure how I follow that conversation that Pat just had with Brian, but I'm going to try to move on to a different subject. Now, I know Brian gets very competitive with his ruler. I'm not even going to bother trying to compete with him because here in Bergen County, we're not getting quite as much as they are at the Jersey Shore. I'm actually standing on this snowdrift here to just try to have close to as much as snow as Brian does. Here, I would say we've got about 5 to 6 inches at most. It's blowing around, so it's sort of hard to calculate exactly how much snow has fallen. I would like to point out I'm doing a what I like to call very New Jersey live shot. We're standing in the parking lot of the Coach House Diner across the street from the mall. That's the Shops at Riverside over there. And the Shops at Riverside, they're clearing the parking lot right now. The diner, on the other hand, has been open 24 hours and has been open throughout the storm, even this morning when we got here about 3:30, and there were very few cars on the road. They were open inside and cooking food for the people who were coming in to eat it this morning. Let's take a listen to the essential workers here at the Coach House serving up breakfast on this snowy Saturday.
I do. I'm concerned because I know that people coming in the morning are going to have a hard time, so I know I'm going to have to be in it for the long haul in the morning and just be patient and let people get here safe, and then I can get home safe. I'll work on that when I get there.
This is her first big snowstorm. We were just talking about snow angels. So
It is star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. It is Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken. It's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. And it's the nor'easter of 2022, so century 20, decade 2 plus 2 years.